All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer of the Corporate Navigator's blueprints. If you are a black male professional navigating today's corporate arena, consider this your high-level executive mentorship session. We are completely bypassing the basic, entry-level advice today. No resume tips here. Instead, we're focusing strictly on what really moves the needle: strategic leverage, mental resilience, and building generational wealth. So buckle up and prepare to fundamentally transform how you view your corporate trajectory.
To get us started, I want you to ask yourself a seriously challenging question. It actually sits at the very heart of this entire blueprint. Are you chasing a title or are you building a legacy? It is incredibly easy to get caught up in the grind for immediate external validation. We all want the promotion, right? But acquiring real power requires a massive mindset shift. You have to pivot away from the fleeting status of a job title and focus relentlessly on the permanent impact of your legacy.
To get there, we're going to follow a very specific roadmap today. First, we'll hit the core, redefining true leadership. Second, navigating toxic corporate environments. Third, mastering the networking maze. Fourth, commanding true executive presence. And finally, number 5, stewardship and generational legacy.
Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the core, securing the internal foundation.
Think of your career like a series of expanding rings. This concentric expansion framework shows us that you literally cannot master the external environment, those tricky outer rings, until you have completely secured the center. And what is that core? It's your faith, your identity, and your personal calling. Look, if you derive your total self-worth from where your name sits on an organizational chart, you are inherently vulnerable. You've got to lock down this internal foundation first before you even think about expanding outward into your network and legacy.
Building on that, the blueprint breaks leadership down into 2 very distinct tracks. On the left side, we have formal leadership. That's positional power, your official title, the budget you control. But let's be real for a second. A corporate restructuring can wipe all of that out in a Tuesday morning email. On the right side, though, that's informal leadership, and that is the real currency. It's built entirely on social capital, undeniable expertise, and cross-functional trust. The beauty of informal leadership is that it travels with you. It creates true leverage because people follow you out of genuine respect, not just corporate compliance.
Moving right along to Section 2, navigating toxic corporate environments. This is all about tactical survival and timeless etiquette.
Listen, if you find yourself stuck in a toxic space, you need a highly structured system, not just an emotional reaction. The Toxicity Navigation Protocol gives us 4 precise phases to handle this. Phase 1, protect your health. You do this by setting strict, unshakable boundaries. Phase 2, and this is absolutely crucial, document everything. Keep a private written ledger of objective metrics and feedback. Phase 3, build allies. Outside the toxic blast radius. Go make friends in adjacent departments. And finally, Phase 4, execute your exit strategy. You leave on your terms for a place that actually values your capacity. It's all about strategic precision.
Now, here's a challenge that is deeply specific to the black male professional workplace presentation. Imagine a spectrum. On one extreme, you have over-assimilation, the whole respectability politics game where you erase your cultural identity just to appease the environment. That is a one-way ticket to burnout. On the exact opposite extreme is unfiltered expression, which, frankly, can just create unnecessary friction. Your target is right in the middle: wise presentation. That's the ability to read the room, align with the corporate culture, and build a powerful personal brand, all without losing your soul in the process. And what supports that wise presentation? Something we call the timeless etiquette engine. Think of these as your non-negotiables. They travel with you no matter what role or company you're in. Punctuality, because time is literally the currency of respect. Follow through, because always closing the loop is how you build deep institutional trust. Throw in clear communication and sharp meeting etiquette, and you've got the pillars that hold up your entire executive reputation. Master these basics first. All right, let's pivot to Section 3, mastering the networking maze. We're moving from isolation to strategic capital.
It is wild how many highly competent guys fall into the traps mapped out right here in this maze. The biggest one? Over-isolation. You know the drill. Putting your head down, working crazy hours, and hoping your work will just magically speak for itself. Spoiler alert, it won't. You'll just remain invisible to leadership. But then there's a sneakier trap, the visibility trap. This is where you're highly visible. Maybe they use you heavily for diversity and inclusion initiatives, but you aren't actually seen or valued for your core business acumen. Keep this in mind. Visibility without strategic value is a dead end.
So, how do we fix that? You have to understand the social capital matrix. Yes, you need mentors for advice.
Yes, you need allies for support in the trenches, but if you actually want to move up, you absolutely need sponsors. Sponsors are the power brokers. They are the ones taking on high risk to advocate for your promotion behind closed executive doors. And how do you get a sponsor? Not by asking for favors. You get them by delivering undeniable results that perfectly align with their strategic goals. Remember this phrase: mentors give you perspective, sponsors give you access. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, commanding true executive presence. Pushing through bias to get into the executive room. Reaching that executive room is no joke. It requires you to outmaneuver multiple layers of resistance. First, you'll inevitably face stereotypes and bias. You shatter those through undeniable competence and having those high-capital sponsors we just talked about. You'll also face gatekeeping, which means you have to map the informal power networks. If the main gates are locked, find the side doors. But honestly, the toughest barrier is often internal. You have to conquer imposter syndrome and reclaim your professional narrative. Tell yourself as often as necessary, you are in that room because of your capability, not to fill a quota.
Once you are in that room, how do you command it? You employ the gravitas equation. Executive presence isn't some magic aura you're born with. It's a calculated stack of 4 cultivated traits. Step 1 is confidence, which is rooted in deep subject matter expertise. Step 2 is communication, the ability to distill a mountain of complex data into a decisive summary. Step 3 is composure. Can you maintain strategic stillness under intense pressure? And Step 4 is authenticity, owning your voice without feeling like you're putting on a performance. Stack those 4 together, and you'll wield immense influence.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Stewardship and Generational Legacy. The ultimate goal, converting your income into true freedom.
If you are a professional anywhere between 20 and 45, financial responsibility is paramount. Your corporate income is a tool, guys. It is not your identity. Real stewardship means aggressive debt management to eliminate the liabilities that hold you down. It means investing to turn your cash into appreciating assets. It means giving back to maintain community uplift. And, absolutely crucial, it means transition planning. You've got to build a financial runway. Why? So that you have the leverage and the optionality to start your own venture, pivot your career, or safely walk away from a toxic space without batting an eye. This all concept comes together brilliantly in what the blueprint calls the dual engine synthesis. On the left, you have your professional sphere. This is where you master executive presence and leverage social capital to generate high-yield income. Now that income acts like a drive belt powering the right engine, the financial sphere. Here, through disciplined stewardship, you accumulate actual assets. The final output of these 2 engines working together is true independence. The absolute biggest mistake you can make? Confusing the fuel, which is your salary, with the actual destination, which is your legacy.
So to wrap up this explainer, the source material leaves us with an executive mandate. These are 4 daily directives you've got to execute. Number 1, anchor your identity in your core values, never in your job title. Number 2, navigate toxic environments with tactical precision and unshakable boundaries. Number 3, intentionally cultivate sponsors to replace isolation with strategic visibility. And number 4, steward your income aggressively to build your ultimate long-term leverage.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today, tracking the roadmap from internal calling all the way to generational wealth. The strategies are laid out, the traps are exposed, and the tools are right here in your hands. But listen, a playbook only works if the player actually takes the field. The blueprint is written, but the legacy is entirely yours to build. So I'll leave you with this. What is the very next move you are going to make today to transform your corporate trajectory?